Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jason Vio. This is CBC Windsor News. We begin tonight in court with a case that highlights intimate partner violence. 45-year-old Brian Marbury of Michigan is facing a first-degree murder charge here in Windsor. He's accused of killing his estranged wife, Sarah Boulay of Windsor. Her mother, Fartumo Kuso, took the stand today. During her testimony, she said the relationship between Boulay and the accused was marked for years with loud arguments, breakups, and injuries to her daughter. Kuso testified that she would see her daughter with black eyes, heavy bruises, and other injuries over the course of her daughter's 20-year relationship with the accused. Kuso described several occasions when her daughter expressed fear of Marbury and asked to be picked up because she had left him. But Marbury's lawyer pointed out that Kuso did not personally document any of these injuries and never told police about them until earlier this year. Boulay went missing in late May of 2023. Her remains were found in a field near Huron Church Road. Marbury has pleaded guilty to causing indignity to a body, but not guilty to the murder charge. The 14-person jury is expected to hear evidence during the trial over the next 4 weeks. The City of Windsor is looking to cut some costs, and its 311 call center may be on the chopping block. The CBC's Chris Ensing brings us the story.
The people who answer the phones at 311 in Windsor say they're worried they might get replaced by AI chatbots. Their union says it's a possibility that city management went to them with the idea as a cost-saving measure.
I think that there are a few options on the table. So we've heard contracting out of the services to a different company, some combination of contracting out and potential AI services.
311 call operators take calls about everything from basement flooding programs to pothole problems across the city. They deal with 100,000 calls a year. Windsor's operation was the first in Ontario, the second in Canada to exist. And this year, City Council gave staff the green light to search for about $500,000 in savings inside of that department. A city spokesperson confirms that outsourcing or contracting out these jobs is on the table. The union said that that could lead to poor customer service.
These are, Windsor residents who know the services and the departments quite well. The possibility of contracting out to, a third company or AI, we don't know where these companies exist. They may not be real people or even residents of Windsor who don't know the city, very well.
There's 12 people making $30 an hour to do the work right now. If anything changes, they would get bumping rights throughout the city into other jobs. City staff are preparing a document that they'll put out which calls for pitches from private companies to see who can do the work and how much it will cost. This is not a done deal. City Council would have to approve any decision made about outsourcing or contracting out this service before anything changes. That could be months from now. The union said that they are prepared to fight for these jobs.
We're hearing from people and elected leaders that, we need to protect and keep good Canadian jobs. To give us this news at this time is very disheartening.
Chris Ensing, CBC News, Windsor.
When it comes to speed cameras, Premier Doug Ford doesn't mince words. He calls them a tax grab and is dead set against them. But as the province looks at getting rid of them, Windsor is set to bring in cameras at 5 locations. Windsor Mayor Drew Dilkin says while he's not a fan of photo radar, he'd compromised for the sake of safety.
I actually feel much the same way about the speed cameras that the Premier does. And I've been very clear from the very beginning that I do not ever want to see this used as a revenue tool. Like we can put 5 more up, guys, and make another $1 million a year. I want this to be only a safety tool. And so we're starting with 5, and the 5 that we're using are exclusively for school zones or existing community safety zones. They will go live within the next 90 days, and so the signs are up at the 5 different locations, and that's required by law to give 90 days notice.
Dilkin says some municipalities have quickly expanded their use of speed cameras to generate revenue, but he says he would strongly oppose any move like that at council. Now, the speed cameras will go live in December at these 5 locations: Cabana Road East, Clover Avenue, Huron Church Road, Forest Glade Drive, and Conservation Drive. The Ontario Provincial Police are sharing what they call a shocking video and details of an incident that could have caused a fatal collision on Canada's busiest highway.
The driver is now facing criminal charges of dangerous driving, failing to remain at the scene of a collision, and driving the wrong way on a divided highway.
Now, this is dash cam footage. Keep your eyes on the center lane there. Police say a 21-year-old driver was going eastbound in the westbound lanes of Highway 401 in Milton, northwest of Toronto. The driver's side swipes several vehicles and narrowly misses hitting another head-on. He then crashed into a light pole. Amazingly, no one was hurt. Police say they're still investigating whether the driver was sober at the time. Colette, another sunny day, another great day outside today.
Yeah, hard to complain about this weather. Yeah, so let's not. Yeah, beautiful conditions that we have, and just showing you some of the highs around the region. Windsor will round it up to 28, 27, London and Kitchener, and a bunch of 25s on the board, and even the nation's capital at 26 degrees today. I know it's still technically summer. We'll get into fall next week, but these are running more than 5 degrees above normal for daytime highs. Overnight tonight with some light winds, we'll have clear skies and 14, even warmer tomorrow, 29, feeling like 34, but with some increasing cloudiness and then a slight change once that front goes through. The details coming up.
All right, we'll check back in with you. Thanks, Colette. The province has appointed a new member of the Windsor Police Services Board. Rakesh Naidu is the former head of the Chamber of Commerce, and as the only person of color, Naidu says he promises to bring his voice to the table to reflect diverse perspectives. The police board provides an important oversight role in disciplining chiefs and deputy chiefs, as well as hiring and firing those roles. Right now, the board is currently looking for a new chief. That's because Jason Belair announced an unexpected retirement that will happen in November in the middle of his 5-year contract. He hasn't provided a reason as to why. Naidu is also coming in at a time when it recently became public that Belair made racist comments at work. CBC reported that an internal investigation substantiated those claims. Here's some of what Naidu had to say about that and the search for a new chief.
I have no comments at this point of time. I've yet to attend a board meeting, and I'm not yet caught up on all these issues. Well, I'm sure the board has a process in place, and the selection team is in place, and they're doing the best to identify the right person soon. And I trust that process, and I know that who is the person that will be selected will be the person that's right for this organization and right for this city.
The province wants to help reduce pressure on our healthcare system by allowing some healthcare professionals to perform additional tasks. In 2023, pharmacists were given the authority to begin prescribing medication for more than a dozen minor ailments. The government now wants to add to that list. It's also looking to expand the list of services provided by optometrists, psychologists, and even dental hygienists. But as Dale Manukduk reports, not everyone is on board.
Manal Kalata has been able to prescribe medication for 19 minor ailments since 2023, but admits that some patients are still confused about what's included on the current list.
Some people, sometimes they have an ear infection and they are looking for an antibiotic for ear infection or for the throat infection. We're not been allowed to do that.
Ontario's Ministry of Health is trying to change that by adding 14 additional ailments that pharmacists are able to make prescriptions for. It includes things like sore throats, minor sleep disorders, head lice, ringworm, and swimmer's ear.
We have now over 1.5 million Ontarians that have turned to their trusted pharmacist for a minor ailment or common ailment assessment and treatment, which I think speaks volumes to the public's acceptance and confidence in pharmacy.
Pharmacists are currently reimbursed $19 per patient they assess and varying amounts for vaccines and medications administered. In a statement, Health Minister Sylvia Jones says, "We are building on our progress to make it faster and easier for families to access the care they need, when and where they need it." The changes could also grant psychologists the authority to prescribe certain medications for mental health conditions or addictions like antidepressants.
It kind of increases the human health resources in the province. So now there's more individuals who can help with this kind of treatment.
But the Ontario Medical Association says allowing non-physicians to prescribe powerful medications puts patients at risk and could lead to fragmented care.
These are complex antidepressants which have many side effects and can interact with so many other medications, leading to quite devastating consequences.
The OMA opposes another proposed change that would allow several regulated health professionals, like dental hygienists and chiropractors, the authority to order and perform certain diagnostic imaging procedures. Ontario also wants to give optometrists authority to perform minor surgical procedures.
There's nothing minor about minor surgeries or treating and prescribing these medications that we're talking about.
The president of Ontario's College of Optometrists says they're ready to go and that new graduates now have minor surgery knowledge integrated into their schooling.
Right now, the optometrist can see the patient, they know what's wrong, they can treat it, but according to the laws at the moment, they cannot. So they have to refer to a specialist. And that can take months for them to have access to the care.
The Ministry of Health has not said when it hopes to implement the changes. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
Ontario's economy could be in for a major hit. A new report from the province's independent budget watchdog warns that Donald Trump's tariffs are set to stall economic growth and drive up unemployment. CBC Queen's Park reporter Sean Jeffords has more on that grim forecast.
Madam Speaker, working to protect communities is at the heart of this budget.
Finance Minister Peter Bethlenfalvy as he unveiled the Ford government's tariff protection-themed budget in May. And Ontario's Financial Accountability Office is looking at that plan, measuring how it will hold up as U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff policies take hold. And the news isn't good. The fiscal watchdog estimates tariffs will slow the province's economic growth, increase unemployment, and drive up government deficits.
This is a 5-year outlook in this report, and just based on how we see the economy and also the government's programs, policies, and commitments, we don't see a balanced budget over the 5-year outlook.
The FAO projects that annual unemployment will increase to 7.8% this year and sit around 8% in 2026, improving slightly to 7.5% between 2027 and 2029. Meanwhile, the budget watchdog projects Ontario's deficits will grow, jumping to around $12 billion this year and next, and dropping to $9 billion by 2029-2030. That could mean the province's debt grows by 35%, or $141 billion over that period. A spokesperson for Ontario's finance minister cautions that the FAO figures reflect a moment in time. As highlighted in the 2025 budget, we remain on a clear path to balance by 2027-2028, as we work to protect our economy and to make Ontario the most competitive place to do business in the entire G7, the spokesperson said for the minister. But opposition critics say the numbers show the province's spring budget isn't going to protect workers from the brunt of Trump's tariffs. And the government wasn't honest about its own deficit projections.
Today, we learned this budget was a fiction. It's not worth the paper it's written on.
And the FAO report comes at a time when the leader of the official opposition has criticized the premier for comments he made last week about youth unemployment.
I can assure you, if you look hard enough, it may not be, maybe be in fast food or something else, but you'll find a job, and that will take you to the next level.
NDP leader Marit Stiles says many people across Ontario are struggling to find work, including youth. And the premier is out of touch.
Doug Ford likes to say that, just last week he said to young people, you're just not looking hard enough for a job. Well, if you have 179,000, which is the last I heard, job openings, and 800,000 people unemployed, do the math, Doug.
The FAO says it doesn't expect the Ford government to make its balanced budget promise in 2027 unless something changes. It could hike taxes or cut spending to meet that target, but has seemed unwilling to make either of those moves since coming to government in 2018. Sean Jeffords, CBC News, Toronto.
A live look outside at downtown Windsor. Colette Kennedy will be back a little later in the show with your full weather details as we venture in toward the end of the week and into the weekend. And then coming up right after the break, we'll have more news for you, so stay with us. The Bank of Canada has lowered its key interest rate by a quarter point to 2.5%. Governor Tiff Macklem says that while the threat of inflation has eased, the U.S. trade uncertainty and tariffs are affecting the Canadian economic outlook. Niña Patel reports.
The Bank of Canada is cutting its key interest rate for the first time in 6 months.
There was a clear sense that the balance of risk has shifted.
The benchmark rate is now 25 basis points lower, sitting at 2.5%. The central bank says the threat of inflation has eased, with the overall rate hitting 1.9% last month. But the trade war with the U.S. is weighing on the economy.
Certainly when you talk to businesses, they're telling us they're facing a host of new costs related to trade disruption. They're trying to change their supply chains, they're finding new suppliers, they're trying to develop new markets.
With steep tariffs on autos, steel, and aluminum, exports and business investment have fallen. Since the trade war started, this Ontario manufacturing company says sales are down 25%.
I think the industry in general is hurting pretty bad. The manufacturing in Canada has really no good stories to tell at this point.
Those sectors most exposed to trade are shedding jobs, helping drive Canada's unemployment rate up to 7.1%. A resolution to the uncertainty could be a long way off.
The bottom line is we should still expect some economic weakness in the quarters ahead, but it might be coming from different sources. And the Bank of Canada's view is it probably isn't a recession and it's probably just sluggish growth.
So lower interest rates will make it cheaper for businesses and consumers to borrow money and perhaps give the economy a bit of a boost. The central bank says there are still considerable risks to the economy and it plans to proceed carefully for any future interest rate decisions. Many economists expect at least one interest rate cut by the end of the year. Niña Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
Scientists are keeping a close eye on the Pacific Ocean right now, where conditions are pointing toward a La Niña event in the next few months. As Johanna Wagstaff explains, it could have a big impact on fall and winter weather in certain parts of Canada.
This just in, a La Niña watch issued for the Pacific Ocean. This is one of our best clues about what kind of fall and winter we might see in Canada, especially Western Canada. So in a typical La Niña, BC tends to get cooler than usual with more snow in the mountains. Meanwhile, the prairies might see wetter conditions, and the Great Lakes and Eastern Canada can get stormier. Curious about how it works? It's all about the Pacific Ocean temperatures, specifically the equatorial Pacific. Both El Niño, you know, her popular sibling, and La Niña are climate patterns. Meteorologists are always keeping an eye on this. El Niño is the warm phase with above average sea surface temperatures and weakened trade winds. Those are those steady east to west winds near the equator, driven partly by the Earth's rotation. And yes, sailors used to use them to hightail it to the Americas back in the day. La Niña is the cold phase with below average sea surface temperatures due to stronger trade winds. Basically, the stronger the winds, the more shoving of that warm surface water out of the way happens and the upwelling of colder water to the surface can happen. So NOAA monitors these temperatures because they can have ripple effects all over the world and can tip the odds for droughts, storms, or heat waves. Not a guarantee, but a good clue. And these swings, by the way, happen on top of climate change. So La Niña doesn't cancel out global warming. It just means our whole baseline is shifting warmer. So right now, NOAA says we are likely to move from neutral conditions, that's where we're at right now, to La Niña in the next couple of months. They're forecasting a 71% chance of a La Niña October through December 2025. The heads up is for ski resorts, farmers, energy planners, and public health agencies. La Niña is not just an ocean thing, it's a sneak peek into the season ahead. And now you've got your heads up.
All right, we'll be right back after this break. Colette Kennedy is standing by live with a full look at your weather forecast. Stay with us.
is beautiful.
Colette Kennedy joins us live again. Colette, we're kind of rocking through this week with some pretty sweet weather, and I know we were just talking about today, and for me, it felt like the warmest day of the week. I kind of get into my car midday, and it's, you know, sun's been beating down, it's been sitting out there. Roll the window down, crank the AC. It's almost like we're back in summer.
Yes, right? And not quite July, but almost feels like it, right?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing. We're getting this gentle climb where not only the temperatures sort of going up, but the humidity coming up a little bit. And tomorrow is going to be the peak in terms of the warmth for this week. Anyway, and what we'll be experiencing this last week of summer. I just want to show you here the warmer numbers for the lower Great Lakes, but the idea that there's some cooler air back here towards northwestern Ontario, and that's kind of behind this cold front. So our temperatures won't dip that much, but there is going to be a dip. So we're going to come back to this, but right now, let's just drop down for a closer look at what's happening currently. Kitchener 26, 27 in London and for Windsor. And yes, some of that humidity. So we had the humidex up to 31. It's still holding at 30 in terms of how it feels. Kitchener almost there with that humidex of 29. And you know, with that ridge of high pressure, it does mean we get a few clouds from time to time, but they're fair weather clouds. The system off the east coast pushing back some of that high thin cirrus towards the lower Great Lakes. And then this is that cold front here back to the north of us that we'll be watching. And this, you know, subsidence and this nice air that's just been sinking and really stable. It's mostly going to stay that way, but a bit of a change as the front comes through. It may bring a few showers, but they'll be pretty isolated. There's a bit more moisture and some thunderstorms you see there with all those lightning strikes with it right now, but it becomes much more moisture starved as it moves into this area and this ridge where we have the high pressure. So we get clear skies overnight tonight. Tomorrow you see an isolated shower trying to bubble up here. This is 4 p.m. where I've stopped this model, and then maybe a bit more activity, but even that's dying out. So an isolated shower late tomorrow afternoon into early evening, not out of the question, but it will be a stray shower. And then we'll have some of the cloud cover holding overnight and into early Friday, and then we'll clear back out again. Lows tonight back down to 14 degrees, so even those are a few degrees above seasonal. And then tomorrow, 29, perhaps even 30 on the thermometer, but feeling like 34, that's our peak. And then the temperatures come back down closer to seasonal, still a bit above. And then they start to crank up again towards the end of the weekend and the beginning of fall.
All right, no complaints. Thanks, Colette. That's it for us here at CBC Windsor. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here tomorrow night.
Good night.